Hello everybody and welcome to part 2 of Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles. Basically just going to start where we left off the last time, and now that we're done choosing, we're going to see what's next. You'll see that my character will go into one of the slots and I can choose her at any time by using the menu. And we are introduced to our family. Today you finally step out into the world in search of Myrrh. You come safely back to Tippa, alright? Should you find any materials for smithing, bring them back to us. We'll forge you a fine weapon. We'll miss you. You'll be back soon, right? Be sure to eat well. So in my experience, I've always picked the same character. I've always had the same family. They've always looked the same with the same names. And I assume it would be the same for anybody else. But you sometimes have a brother, but you always have your mom, your dad, and then your two siblings. And your relationship with your family becomes important later on. And we are thrown right back onto the world map, but before we go any further, we are just going to go right back into Tippa really quickly so I can show off a few things. So you can see the first bit of movement with our character. This is how our character moves. You can see she runs at a relatively good pace. That blue circle I spoke of underneath her feet, I said I prefer to have it on. Some people may prefer to have it off. It's completely up to you. That is, of course, changeable in the main menu. Now, Tippa will look extremely dull and very, very bare. You'll see these Moogles outside of people's houses, and it will say, "Sorry, nobody's home right now, Kupo." And the reason they say nobody's home is because the characters you create will live in these houses. So there's like I said, there's 8 families in total, and until you start creating families and characters, all these houses will remain empty. So it's basically like a ghost village, and I will be coming back to Tippa. Hopefully the next time I do, we'll be able to fully utilize the other families. The great thing about this game is that you can create 8 different characters, and even if you don't play on them, you can still use their family's profession. So if I created a character with a ranching family, I wouldn't have to play on that character at all, but I could still come back to Tippa and I could get supplies from their family. So it's a great system, and I will be, of course, like I said, I will be creating all 8 different types of characters and their corresponding professions. And my house, actually, is right here, and I'm pretty sure the placing of the houses depend on which profession you've chosen. So as you can see, this is like a blacksmithing table, so the blacksmithing family would live here depending on which character that was. You can talk to members of your family. They don't really say anything really exciting. Your father, if you want to talk to him, he will make you something. Of course, we can't get anything made right now because we haven't even gone out into the world yet. This here, I guess the main plot of this game really hasn't been too well explained. Every town has a crystal, and what you're trying to do is you're trying to collect myrrh in your chalice to pretty much keep this crystal lit up. The minute that your crystal grows dull, monsters will come and invade the town. And that's basically the whole object of this game, which is a very simple plot, actually. There's some things I want to do around Tippa, but I think I'll do them later. I basically just wanted to show you guys that, yes, the town is a ghost town, but that will change later on, and I'll take care of that later on. So that's about it. I think it's about time we set out and get into some action type stuff. Enough of this boring tutorial stuff. Alright, so just to explain how this little menu works here, Tippa Peninsula at the very top is the whole area. So this area consists of the little 3 areas you can see on the map here. The little speech bubble will tell you, obviously, that you're on Tippa. You can press A to visit that location. We're in our first here, and on the bottom right is that little vessel. That is our chalice. I've always called it a chalice. People might call it chalice or a chalice, but I say chalice. It has a fire element, which we will get into later, and that is what you use to collect your pieces of myrrh. So with that being said, we're going to move forward and we're automatically going to get thrust into a storyline event. Some events are completely random, and some events are not optional and will happen automatically, and this is one of the ones that just happens automatically as soon as you leave Tippa. Hail, fellow caravaner. You are the caravan from Tippa, are you not? I heard they were sending out a new caravan. You seem quite capable. My name is Solrocht. I am captain of the caravan from the great fortress of Alphataria. Our caravan boasts a history that stretches back thousands of years, but let us discuss that some other time. Stillskin, do you have a moment? This is the caravan from Tippa. Come on, say hello. Allow me to introduce Stiltskin. Final Fantasy has some pretty complicated names, I gotta say. Even we turn to him for counsel from time to time. No, I'm just a Moogle that likes to get around. I learned all sorts of things in my travels before I knew it. I'm on my way somewhere right now, but I can teach you a thing or two if you like. And this is basically like asking if you want to do the tutorial, so we're going to let him take us somewhere. By the way, are you setting out by yourself, Kupo? You've got a lot on your shoulders, Kupo. Let me carry the crystal chalice for you, Kupo. And you get your very own Moogle, which is really awesome. Let Mog help you. Well, let's find a better spot. Look, if you want to ask me something, come here and press the B button, okay? Alright, so I didn't actually come here so that he can tell us what to do. I'm basically just going to go over a few things, but I figured this was a nice wide open area to do it. So you can see we're in battle mode right now. We have our weapon drawn, and we're going to get into the battle part of this game. You can see on the very top left corner there, we've got our health, and we've also got highlighted attack. What you can do is, basically you can do everything using the A button, which is really, really awesome. Right now it's set on attack, so if we press A, we'll attack. If you press A once, you'll basically just do a basic attack. If you press A a bunch of times in a row, you'll do a combo. You can see it, I do it again. Yeah, like that, that's a combo. And there's another thing called a focus attack, and I mentioned in the previous video that Selkies have a great focus attack. What it is it is a charged up long range attack, and you just hold A, wait for it to charge up, and you can aim it. And I personally really love this attack. I use this quite a bit. It's powerful, it's safe, and it looks really cool. And depending on what weapon you have, it will look different. For now, it's going to shoot out like a little beam of light, which is pretty cool. So you'll see that in battle and how that works. You can cycle through different things to do by using L and R. As you can see, now it's switched to defend. So the Selkies will do a backflip to defend. Depending on which race you have, they'll all do different things for defense. I personally think the Selkies are one of like the coolest tribes, battle animation wise. Like they're just a bunch of show-offs, I think, but it looks pretty cool. So right now we only have attack and defend, and this is what is called the command list, and we can add spells and items and things like that to our command list to make a more complicated thing of things available at our disposal. If we press Y, we can go to our menu. You can see it'll say assign Magicite, weapons, food, or Phoenix down to this command slot. So if I press A, I can go into my inventory, and I can go and I can assign something. Say I want to have food on here for easy access because I'm worried about my health. Now that I have the striped apple there, I can go and it will say striped apple. If I press A, I will eat it and it will say not bad. So that's a good way to have access to healing items if you need it. And if you have spells, it will do the exact same thing. I don't think he'll give us a spell until we talk to him, so we might actually have to talk to him to be able to show off the spells aspect. On the right hand side there you can see our stats. We're actually pretty well rounded. We don't get into magic for a little while, so we're going to be pretty much depending on physical attacks for the time being. This is our entire menu, and we've got a lot of stuff in here, as you can see. I basically just described the command list. You just put stuff in the command slots to create commands that can be used in battle. Very self-explanatory. Items, you can use, drop, or destroy your items. You do have a limited amount of space, so be warned when you're traveling that you use this for all things. You use this for tombs, you use this for equipment, for food, for spells, for everything. So just choose wisely when you pick up something, because you might want to make room for something different. Equipment, you can obviously change all your equipment. That's very self-explanatory. Artifacts will be something completely different. I'll have to get into when we get into a dungeon, but basically they're things you pick up on your travels that will permanently do a stat increase or give you something that increases something for the good. And like I said, we'll get into that when we get into a dungeon. Treasures, view artifacts you found while in a dungeon. So again, I'll have to show that when we're in a dungeon. Usually you can pick up to 4, and when you leave a dungeon you can pick one of them to take with you. Money is just your current funds, so you want to keep an eye on your money, because you'll be using it to buy things. Obviously you can also send money to your family, and again, we'll just get into that later on. It's not important at the moment. This is interesting. I really like that they added this into the game. This is a view of your current likes and dislikes, and depending on what you like and what you don't like, your character will recover more HP from it. So you can see my character really likes fish, striped apples, and meat. So if I eat those 3 things, I will gain the most HP. And if I was to eat something like, well, she really doesn't like her vegetables, does she? If I was to eat something like a potato or corn or a carrot, I really wouldn't gain that much HP. However, another really good thing is that you can eat foods and you will automatically get likes for it. So basically, if you're not picky and you just eat whatever you can, you'll obviously eventually like it, and all of the food will all have a great HP increase. So it's good to just eat all different types of food, because in the long run it will be worth your time. Your family will it's view compatibility with your family members. You can see right now that my family and I are all mutual. Your family's likes towards you or their dislikes will depend on a discount you get from your family. If your family likes you, you can get a big discount at their store, or if they make you something, they won't charge you as much. But if they don't like you, they will actually probably charge you more. So it's important to maintain a good relationship with your family, and I will be showing you guys how to do that later on. And letters, this is to read letters we have received. We haven't gotten any letters yet, but I'll go back to that screen when we do have letters so that you can actually see how that works. So I guess I can talk to him and he can teach us how to cast spells. The only reason I have to talk to him is because he won't give us spells until I talk to him, which is kind of annoying. So basically, we have fire here, and it works the same way as a focus attack. You basically press A, hold it, and you kind of just, I guess it's like casting time, and you just wait until you can actually cast a spell, aim it, and hurt the enemy. So it's really nice because it works the same way as attacking. It's not a complicated thing. It's very smooth and it works pretty well. Just make sure to have fire or whatever spell you're wanting to use selected, so you'll actually use it instead of going and attacking him, or whatever. The only thing is that when your enemy moves, it kind of sucks because you don't hit them, obviously. So you can use a lone spell, or you can do what's called spell fusion. I'm going to show you what that looks like. If you go to our menu and we go to the command list, you'll notice we have fire and we have blizzard in 2 different slots, and they're 2 different spells. If we go to one of them and we go fuse, fire and blizzard will fuse together to make this spell gravity. And you can combine a variety of different spells in this game to create other spells, and it's very useful in some areas, especially if you have an area where a whole group of monsters are vulnerable to one spell. You can really just wreak some serious havoc. Unfortunately, this guy will not stop moving. I don't use spells a lot unless I really have to. There are some enemies in this game that are incredibly resistant to physical attacks and you have to hit them with magic. But magic casting just really takes a long time and it's really not as accurate as just going up and hitting the guy with brute force. And the very last thing is that if you're playing in single player mode, your Moogle will carry this chalice for you. So if I want to pick it up, I can press B and carry it. When I'm carrying it, I cannot attack or anything like that. So I can carry it, but some people say, let me carry the chalice. So if you drop it, you can press X, and your Moogle will automatically carry it. And if you want him to drop it, you can just press X again and he will drop it. So that's a very, very simple progress. He'll carry it and he'll follow you around. And you can attack and you don't have to worry about getting hurt. The red circle you might have noticed is kind of like, I like to call it like a field. If you go outside of this field and you leave your chalice behind, you will actually take damage, believe it or not. It's probably not showing it now because we're in practice mode, but if I was to leave my chalice way over here and I was to leave and go way off out into the distance, I'll actually start losing health. And I guess it's maybe because like the chalice like protects you or something like that, but it's very important not to leave it behind, and I 99% of the time have Mog carry it for me. So for the time being, I think that's enough tutorial. You guys are probably completely bored and completely just blown up with information, so we are done. And now that we are done with all the tutorial stuff, we are ready to move on to our next, our first world. This is our first dungeon, the Riverbell Path. And I'm not going to start it in this video, but next video I promise we'll get into some action and hopefully put some of that tutorial stuff to use so you can see it firsthand in battle. Thank you all so very much for watching the second episode of Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles, and I hope that you'll all